Dear listeners, welcome once again to my YouTube channel. If you are new, then subscribe to the channel. Well, let's start the story. It must have been around midnight when there was a knock on William's door. Wondering who could be there at this time, William opened the door and saw the person standing at the door, a look on William's face. Detective Jonty was standing in front of William with a smile. Looking at William, the night has already passed, but I hope I have not disturbed you at this time. William said, No, my friend, if you are standing at my door on this night time. If yes, then there must be something serious. Now William, do you have time? Detective Jonty said. What is the story? You are not able to sleep. William said, Not at all, friend, you continue your talk. Jonty again said, William, this is the case of the mysterious death of Colonel Richard in Aldershot. He was in the British Army Royal Monsters Regiment. Presently he was camped in the industry. He himself, as a commanding officer, was living in his Bengal some distance away from there. I was relieved and had to be praised for his ability because after joining the army, he progressed very quickly from being an ordinary soldier to colonel. He was married to a gentleman's daughter whose name is Lily, however, after marriage. There did not seem to be any problem in their relationship, but some of their family members used to say in a harsh tone that something was not right between them, that both of them did not come and go with each other even in the husband-wife story. Perhaps the problem was not from Colonel Richard's side but from his wife's side. Colonel loved his wife just like other husbands love their wives, but if Lily had to get the story out then she would have come alone. William asked Jonty about all this. I came to know about all this from Colonel Richard Driver and her two maids who had been working with them for a long time. Lily often went there to participate in church activities, but even there she used to go there for her own purposes. She took a neighbor friend of hers with her, whose name is Morrison. Such meetings started at 8 o'clock in the night and continued for about an hour. This sequence has been going on like this for many years, but last week, suddenly that unfortunate incident happened. After leaving the church, Lily went straight to her home. When she reached her home, it was around 9:30 in the night. Lily was very upset. She asked her maid to bring a cup of tea. Before this, it had never happened that after returning from church, Lily had made any such request. Lily's maid also felt very strange after hearing this, but still she brought a cup of tea for Lily and she locked the door from inside. The maid was not interested in them because they were husband and wife and they could talk about anything, but the maid's attention was drawn to their conversation when she heard that the conversation between the two got clouded in a heated argument, and after some fear, the argument between them got clouded in shouting and screaming. Then the maid suspected that something was wrong. She tried to open the door but it did not open because there was a close from inside. She told the other maid and the car driver. All three reached there and all three tried to open the door, but still the door did not open. There was an argument between the husband and wife inside. Both were shouting loudly from outside the door. Whatever she heard, she was shouting words like, You are a selfish and mean person, you don't have a heart, you don't care about anyone's feelings, my life has become hell since I married you. Give me back my life. Please. And after this, standing outside, what happened inside or not, it was difficult to understand from outside, but as soon as he understood, there was a loud sound of a heavy object falling from inside. What was that falling thing? It was difficult to understand, but after the sound, there was complete silence inside. The three servants standing outside had suspected that something was wrong inside, but what could they do? The door was locked from inside. Then the driver remembered that he could go inside through the window of the room. The driver went to the window of the room and entered the room through the window, but as soon as he entered inside, he learned the lesson from the scene he saw. His whole body woke up with fear as if he was being asked to accompany him. He found the dead body of his master lying in front of him. There was a deep wound on his master's head from which a pond had been formed after blood had been taken out. The interesting thing was that Lily was also lying unconscious nearby. Both the maids were standing outside the door of the room, shouting to open the door. Tried to open it, but it had an automatic lock. One person tried to find the key of the door so that he could open it from the bottom, but after a million attempts. Driver muttered in his mouth that one of the two must have locked the door from inside. Then where would he get the key to the door? Driver was already very nervous. He immediately went back out of the window. He took it out and informed the police. The police came, and after coming, the carpenter was called. The carpenter separated the bolts of the names of the doors and opened the door. The police also saw the inside and got confused as to how Colonel Richard died. How was that case? Major Martin recommended my name to solve this complicated case, and this is how it came into my hands. How did I investigate it closely? I found that before the death of Colonel, his eyes were wide with fear, but I could not digest the fact that before doing this, a military man became afraid of someone like this. He had seen something which made him very sad. He was afraid that it might be a murderer whom he might have seen very close to him, or he might have seen him in such a situation that he was not in a position to fight him at the time. It might be that he felt that he was about to die. It was above his head. Perhaps he must have been so scared because of this thought. After talking to both the servants and the car, I also tried to find the key in the room, but I could not find the key. The strange thing was that the camera was from inside. There was a band, and thus the key getting lost was suspicious and surprising. After that I also talked to Lily's neighbor friend Morrison, but I did not get any information related to Richard from there. Lily was afraid of police suspicion, but the police did not know about this. She was not even giving any answer to the question that if Lily had hit her husband in the armpit, then how did she herself become unconscious? Then I focused my attention on the two maids of Colonel and his driver. Then one of the two maids of Colonel A maid racked her brains and told me that when the husband and wife were arguing, they were attacking each other. Then she heard a name coming from Lily's mouth from outside the door, and that name was David. William, echoing the style of Jaunty, said that Colonel's first name could also be like David. Both were shouting loudly from outside the door. Whatever she heard, she was shouting words like, "You are a selfish and mean person, you don't have a heart, you don't care about anyone's feelings, my life has become hell since I married you, give me back my life. Please." And after this, standing outside, what happened inside or not, it was difficult to understand from outside, but as soon as he understood, there was a loud sound of a heavy object falling from inside. What was that falling thing? It was difficult to understand, but after the sound, there was complete silence inside. The three servants standing outside had suspected that something was wrong inside, but what could they do? The door was locked from inside. Then the driver remembered that he could go inside through the window of the room. The driver went to the window of the room and entered the room through the window, but as soon as he entered inside, he learned the lesson from the scene he saw. His whole body woke up with fear as if he was being asked to accompany him. He found the dead body of his master lying in front of him. There was a deep wound on his master's head from which a pond had been formed after blood had been taken out. The interesting thing was that Lily was also lying unconscious nearby. Both the maids were standing outside the door of the room, shouting to open the door. Tried to open it, but it had an automatic lock. One person tried to find the key of the door so that he could open it from the bottom, but after a million attempts. Driver muttered in his mouth that one of the two must have locked the door from inside. Then where would he get the key to the door? driver was already very nervous. He immediately went back out of the window. He took it out and informed the police. The police came, and after coming, the carpenter was called. The carpenter separated the bolts of the names of the doors and opened the door. The police also saw the inside and got confused as to how Colonel Richard died. How was that case? Major Martin recommended my name to solve this complicated case, and this is how it came into my hands. How did I investigate it closely? I found that before the death of Colonel, his eyes were wide with fear, but I could not digest the fact that before doing this, a military man became afraid of someone like this. He had seen something which made him very sad. He was afraid that it might be a murderer whom he might have seen very close to him, or he might have seen him in such a situation that he was not in a position to fight him at the time. It might be that he felt that he was about to die. It was above his head. Perhaps he must have been so scared because of this thought. After talking to both the servants and the car, I also tried to find the key in the room, but I could not find the key. The strange thing was that the camera was from inside. The doorways closed, and thus the key getting lost was suspicious and surprising. After that I also talked to Lily's neighbor friend Morrison, but I did not get any information related to Richard from there. Lily was afraid of police suspicion, but the police did not know about this. She was not even giving any answer to the question that if Lily had hit her husband in the armpit, then how did she herself become unconscious? Then I focused my attention on the two maids of Colonel and his driver. Then one of the two maids of Colonel A maid racked her brains and told me that when the husband and wife were arguing, they were attacking each other. Then she heard a name coming from Lily's mouth from outside the door, and that name was David. William, echoing the style of Jaunty, said that Colonel's first name could also be like David. He must have taken out the key from the room and jumped from the window of the room and ran away from there, and also he must have taken the key with himself. William said, "Your story is very interesting." Jaunty said, "William, this is just now. There is one more character left in the interesting story." "Okay, so who is that interesting character?" Jaunty, William asked. "Well," he said, "this interesting character should be a small rat-like animal with sharp claws." "How did you know that rat-like animals also have legs?" William jokingly asked. "It's not a joke, animals also leave their footprints, look at this." Saying this, Jaunty put his hand in his jaw and took out a piece of paper shaved from his jaw, and opened it and showed it to William. There were small claw marks in the paper. William looked at them with great surprise and said to Jaunty, "But what is strange in this, people, such small animals must be roaming around in the garden a lot." "Well," he said, "yes, like this. Animals roam around in the garden a lot, but it is a bit surprising to find the paw marks of such animals in the curtains hanging in the window of the wall of a room." William asked with surprise, "What do you mean?" Then Jaunty said, "These are the small paw marks of this. These claw marks were found from the curtains hanging in the window of the room. Colonel was murdered in the room. There is no joint found there." William said, "Such animals can never enter through the window. This clearly shows that this small animal was she had come in through the window with the killer, or rather this animal was with the killer. Till now we don't even know why Lily suddenly became so upset while returning from the church." "What happened?" William said. "I am surprised as to why you have not yet received any important information from her neighbor friend Morrison, whereas he used to come to church with her every Sunday. Thinking this, you should ask Morrison once. I met her again and I made her understand the seriousness of the situation. I explained to her that her silence was putting Lily in danger because by now the law was considering her the murderer. Then Morrison told me some new things. Morrison said that while returning from church, we often go to Hudson. We used to pass through a street which is usually deserted. Even on the night of the murder, we were coming through this road, then suddenly, out of nowhere, a man came and stood in front of Lily. He was middle-aged, he was wearing old, worn-out shiny clothes. He was wearing exactly the same clothes as the magicians who show sleight of hand in the street corners. Seeing Lily, she said something with surprise that she did not recognize him, but after a little fear, she recognized him, and after seeing the man, she was happy and said surprised, "But you had died 30 years ago." When she realized my presence, she held Henry's hand and took him aside from where I could not hear his clicking. Both of them were standing there unaware. What were we talking about? But when Lily separated from him, the man looked very angry with Lily. He angrily showed his fist to Lily, who had come towards me in a warning manner. Morrison did not tell me anything more than this, "William," because Lily had told Morrison to William and said, "Then could this be the same man who was standing outside the window of Colonel and seeing the opportunity, he murdered Colonel?" John T. said, "I can't do anything in this matter right now, William, because we don't have any concrete evidence." William said, "If he is a magician who shows sleight of hand on the streets and footpaths, then by searching he will definitely be found among the elders of the people, so you must have tried, maybe people called him." "Yes, of course you did, and I came to know that he is living in a prison house on Hudson Street. I inquired about his house from his landlady, and she told me a lot about her house. His landlady told me that he has been living in her house for the last week. He earns money by performing shows in the streets at night, and this is his livelihood." Then I asked his mistress about an animal that looks like a small rat. Then the woman told her that she also has such an animal which is always there. There is a relief with that, he also plays the game by using it. Yes, at the time I went there, at that time, the juggler was not there, but to solve this matter, it is very important for us to meet tomorrow morning. Are you ready to go there with me, William? William said, surprise, "John T., how come you have almost done this? Then why do you have to follow me now?" William, tomorrow when I am interrogating him, there will be a man to verify the truth of his button, or just like that. It is very important to have a witness, so tomorrow you will be my witness, so it's okay, let's go there tomorrow morning, William said. The next day, both John T. and William took a train, and from there straight to Hudson Street. The juggler took time to his home. It was John T. and William, both of them storming inside her house. Seeing both of them suddenly entering her house like this, she was roaming around the juggler, widening the square, and told the juggler not to worry, "Mr. Henry. Me, detective, we both want to talk to you about something important." Henry said, "I don't even know you both, so why should I talk to you too?" "Well, if you don't know us, then you must be knowing Colonel Richard and Miss Lily." On hearing this, he felt like a juggler. Many colors appeared on his face, and he came and went. "We did not tell you that he had been murdered." The juggler got upset and said, "I read in the newspaper. You came to this city, and with your arrival, he left this world. What do you have to say? It doesn't matter to me, I don't know anything about it." Having said this, the juggler turned his back towards John T. and William. "Then you could have told me this even by looking at me and said very casually," the juggler said angrily, and then said to John T., "Yes, I will leave, but remember this much, Lily has been accused of this murder, so she will also be punished. You are the only one who knows that Lily is not a murderer." "Yes, I know he wouldn't do that." As soon as he said this, the juggler suddenly became silent. "He didn't even kill an ant." John T. further said this too. "Tell me, you have known him for years." "No, this is all nonsense." The man was still hesitating. "Come on, the key of the room where he was murdered, what is that key doing in your house? How did this key come here?" picked up a key lying on the table and showed it to the man and said, "This is the key to this room, tell me." Now he could clearly see the man's nervousness on his face, he was sweating profusely. Jonty further asked, "Henry, is this the key?" The man said, "Then tell me clearly what happened there that night." The man put down his arms and said, "This is a very long story, which started 30 years ago. Both me and Richard were in army. Richard was sergeant in the army. I had a very good friendship with Lily. I was fond of showing magic tricks. This magic was just sleight of hands magic. Lily was very happy to see my tricks and I liked her. Lily also liked me, we both loved each other, but her father wanted something else. He had something else in mind for his daughter. He had chosen Richard as his son-in-law. Richard knew something, but he did not like the fact that Lily liked me because he himself liked Lily. Richard wanted to marry Lily, and that is why he used to irritate me a lot. This is the story of both of them when our regiment went to India. I was afraid that I had to take my regiment to a place, but I came to know that on the way we might have an encounter with a group of revolutionaries. I did not want to get into trouble with those revolutionaries. I should have informed my commander about this, but the rest did not. He took me to the rock, he told me that he was from India, he told me a safe route by which I could reach my destination with my regiment without colliding with the revolutionaries. He also gave me a map, but believing him, I went on the route shown by him, but I didn't know that he was having enmity with me. I didn't know that he was clearing the way between himself and Lily in this way. I wish I could have known his secret in time. I was badly trapped in his trap. I was caught on the path shown by the Richard and I was tortured very badly. I endured various journeys. I remained hungry. The yearning for Lily's love kept me restless. I wanted to go to her by any means, but I was forced to stay in Costa Rica all the time. Then after a long time, they took me to Nepal from there. They attacked our camp with the intention of looting and they took me captive and went away with them. They treated me like a slave and forced me to do farming. My face became very cloudy and my body became like the condition you are seeing. One day I somehow managed to escape from there. I had some money with which I was able to come back to England. Although England was my own place, the people here also did not accept me. Whoever saw my face started hating me, then I was forced to go to live. So I started practicing juggling and magic, and then one day while walking you bumped into Lily. Yes, I got a little emotional after seeing her. I still haven't been able to forget her. It was Lily's love. The one who had kept me alive till now, even after suffering so much hell. Lily told me that she had received the news of my death, and only after waiting for me for a long time, she had said yes to marry Richard. I told Lily the story of pain and cheating, after hearing that she could not believe her ears. I asked Lily to return, but Lily said that no matter what you do, she is still her husband, and now after 30 years it is impossible for her to return. I was very shocked to hear this. I got angry with Lily and Lily left from there. I followed Lily and reached her house. I saw from the window that both of them were screaming each other. Then suddenly they ran away and saw me from the window. They were looking at me. Immediately he lost consciousness, his condition became as if lightning had fallen on him and he went into deep shock, his face turned pale and suddenly he fell and his head hit the corner of the table. As soon as it hit the table, his head fell. He fell and probably passed out immediately. Seeing the condition of Richard, Lily got scared and she too fell down unconscious. So I came inside from the window and saw that he had passed away and Lily was lying there unconscious. Seeing this, I also got scared. I could not check whether he was alive or not. I wanted to take him out of the door of the room. I went near the door, turned the key and was thinking of opening the door, but then I opened the door. On the other side, I heard the servants screaming and banging on the door. I thought that if I go out in this condition, everyone will consider me a murderer. I took out the key from the door and started running out of the window, but while going out of the window, my pet mongoose came out and climbed on the curtain of the window. I could not leave him there. He was my source of livelihood. I was watching my mongoose through the curtain and then it ran out of the window. Oh, so you want to say that you did not kettle the goat yesterday? Come on, say yes, I did not kill it, even Lily did not kill it, it was on its own. I have killed him for his deeds, God himself has punished him, his death is just an accident, I was there at the time, I saw everything with my own eyes but I did not kill him. Hearing his words, a smile appeared on Jonty's face and then he said, I already knew this truth because I had seen blood on the corner of the table and who was that person on the table, he was also slightly shaven, this could have happened only if someone came and hit him very forcefully or his head. Lily couldn't do that and your body didn't have that much strength to compete with the tap yesterday because you have become old too. I was silent till now only because I heard this truth from your mouth. After this, Jonty and William brought him out of the man's house and went straight to Major Murphy and told him the whole story. Then Major Murphy told Jonty that the post-mortem report of the colonel had also been received yesterday and according to his report, Colonel did not die due to head injury but Colonel died due to heart attack due to fear. Hearing this news, Jonty and William smiled. Major Murafane thanked them both. Detective Jonty and William turned back. Moving towards the station to prepare the train, Dr. William said to Jonty, Jonty, in this way a mystery has been solved, perhaps you are thinking of David. William said, yes, this is the same thinking. I was wondering what this secret of David is. When Lily was arguing with her husband, the servant standing outside had heard the name of David from Lily's mouth. David was not a part of their life but a letter of the Bible. In this story, David is fine, it was played between the story of Lily and Henry. While arguing, Lily was comparing Colonel Richard with David and then those servants heard the word David from Lily's mouth, really surprising. William was surprised. Jonty said, you have the answer to everything. Jonty said, how can even the most difficult of investigations be based on the answers of such questions? If you don't get the answer to one question, then understand that the story is wrong. The answer to even one question is missing. He brings the real culprit in front of you and in the same way, even a single lie that has no answer can put a fancy noose around the neck of an innocent person. Yes, you are right. William replied with satisfaction. After that, both sat down in the train and went towards my home. Dear listeners, if you liked this story, subscribe to the channel, and press the bell icon. There are so many interesting stories on my channel. Thank you for listening.